Good evening. Thank you for your patience in having us start a little bit late this evening. My name is Mike Wickers. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood Heights, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting for July 2nd, 2024. I've asked our interim city manager and director of finance, Scott Georges, if he would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Scott. Item number 3 on our agenda this evening is a citizen comment period. I'm going to invite Maggie Mills up to talk with us. Hi, Maggie.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Good.
I'm Maggie Mills from the Whitmore Library here in Cottonwood Heights. And I just wanted to give you an update on some things happening at the library. We're halfway through summer reading. It ends July 31st. There's still plenty of time if you haven't signed up already to go ahead. Finishers get a free book as well as can enter into drawings for some other prizes. It's just a lot of fun. And I wanted to mention a few family programs we have scheduled. There are a lot of other things, but I won't take that time. We have a puppet show on Friday the 12th at 11, a magic show Friday the 19th at 11, and an Kim's Cold-Blooded Creatures Saturday the 20th at 5. So if you want to see some snakes and other things, please come join us. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it. Love that update. Feel free to do that anytime. Appreciate it. The next comment card I have is for Nancy Hardy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Mayor, City Council members. Oh, I brought my sign again, the old mill. Those are my 2 words for tonight. The burning question is, does Cottonwood Heights want to save or demolish the old mill? I think Cottonwood Heights has an obligation and a responsibility to save it, even if they just saved 5 acres around it. But it's important to save it. And there is a lot of acreage just basically across the road at the gravel pit, where there will be endless area to build houses and condos and townhouses and apartments. There's a lot of land, and there may also be no limit on the height. So I think that the old mill needs to stay. And I also think the decision of demolishing it should not just lie with the city and the planning commission and the mayor and city council. It should also get input from the residents that live here, the residents in the county, in the state. It's a landmark. And wouldn't you rather have the old mill than a plaque that represents it? So in my next question, I asked last week, what has the city done to save the old mill? And I mentioned some ideas last meeting, and I'm happy to make contact with some of those foundations if I have a phone number. Do you have phone numbers? Anyway, don't demolish it by neglect. Once it's gone, you can't get it back. Don't tear down history. Build a fun future there. Be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm just going to add just real quickly. So the old mill is privately owned. It is a historic building, so it has that designation, but it is privately owned. The property around it is also privately owned. We have been working with the property owner, have given them, we've actually reached out to lots of different organizations. We've expressed our intent that the community wants it saved. And so whether that ends up being in its in the current form that it's in, or if it ends up being more of a historic marker with some type of building facade and ability to come and honor that history. The city's in favor of that and is doing all that we can, along with working with different agencies and the building owner to respect that and what the community wants. Anyway, thank you for your comment, Nancy.
What is the current zoning at the old mill? Could Cottonwood Heights
Half-acre residential.
half-acre residential? So,
That
Uh.
the property owner could build half-acre residential homes on all of those properties without coming to the city council. They have that right currently.
and the old mill might fit on a half an acre too, if it was saved. I bet. Okay.
Thank you. Item number 4 are staff quarterly reports.
Mayor,
Oh, sorry. Is there another comment card?
no, I had one that was sent in. Go ahead.
Yeah, have you filled out a comment card? Okay, if you'll do that. Currently, we also have some comments that need to be read into the record.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly read it in. So we received one from Audrey Pines related to form-based code, and that has been received in and will be forwarded out to the council and also included in minutes.
Right. Thank you, Scott. Come on up, please. And if you'll just state your name into the.
Yes, I will. I'm Dale Chalmers. I live at 2918 East Bridgewater Drive, right up there. I was out riding my bike yesterday and I noticed that there's no fireworks signs everywhere. Like I think I even saw one over there. There's a block above my house, a block below my house, not in between. And I was wondering why my house can get burnt down and the people's next block and a half can't. So I tried to find out, how do I stop fireworks in my neighborhood? Well, I talked to David Bradley, can't see, fire marshal, and he told me that on May 1st, the map is made where fireworks can be made, set off legally. Well, May 1st, and now it's July 1st, 2nd. Well, how do you make a map on May 1st when you don't know what the fire danger is going to be on July 4th? Well, Salt Lake County just came out with a fire, no fires in Salt Lake County. The state fire marshal came out and said it's high fire danger. I guess I'm here to ask you why Salt Lake or Cottonwood Heights doesn't just make a new map. Might be too late for this year. Make a new map. You can use 27th East, no fireworks up between here and the mountains. And there's lots of reasons, and I know a lot of people have made complaints about fireworks. Probably the most complaints you'll get. It's time for Conwood Heights to stop fireworks. Today in KSL, there was a big article showing you the pollution that fireworks causes to our valley. You might want to read that. And then also, it's probably time for Cottonwood Heights to stop their fireworks show and move on to non-pollution instead of pollution. Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion, your comments, Del. The next person I have is David Schoeneck. Is that right, David?
Pretty close, close enough.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. I am Dave Schenek. I live at 3094 East Banbury Road, right across from Bywater Park. And my wife worked at Cottonwood Heights Rec Center as an instructor for almost 20 years until COVID came her a couple months short. But I work at Snowbird as an instructor with the adaptive program, and I work in the insurance industry. 7 years ago, many of you may know, our house came within a few minutes of blowing up. There's a field next to our house. You probably all know the field. It's the backside of the mortuary. And it's a 55-acre field of tinder. It's not a dating website. It's a sagebrush, Russian olives, dry grass. The list goes on. It's very dangerous. And somebody lit off an aerial fireworks and on the east side of that field, lit it on fire. And this is what our house looked like. 60-foot flame engulfed. Firemen said within minutes, it would have hit the gas line, blown up the house, taken 2 streets out to the west. And we all saw what happened in California, that town that was just decimated, and that can happen here. Aerial fireworks in a desert climate doesn't make sense. I just, what the gentleman said, I know that Cottonwood Heights has limitations as to what you can and cannot do. There's the state, there's the county, but how that 55-acre field could be deemed wildland interface in the middle of a residential neighborhood is ridiculous. And that's the nicest word I can come up with. It doesn't make any sense. There's not wildland. There's homes and lives surrounding it. Now they do some mitigation. Okay, they've got a little sprinkler going, little sprinkler, and then they cut back 30 feet, I think is the mandate. But that night that our house got engulfed, there was a 30-mile-an-hour canyon wind coming out of Big Cottonwood. And you set off an aerial firework and it can go 100 yards in a New York minute. And it doesn't make sense. The gentleman mentioned other ways to do it. There's drones, really cool drone shows. I don't know if anyone's seen them. Or we can go to the soccer fields and have a fire truck on either end and have a professional do it, where we're not risking people's lives in their homes. You know, I always look at, a guy's got 10 beers in him. Hey, watch this one. And that's what happens. And that's how fires start. And that's how homes get burnt. So if there's anything Cottonwood Heights can do to mitigate this more. I know the signs are up. I know that's helped the last few years that you can't go into certain areas, but there are areas that it's allowed. And to me, like the gentleman said, it's not allowed in where we live, but I do drive around, and I will drive around tonight and tomorrow night. And if I see somebody, I'm going to call Robbie and I'm going to have them stop doing it. But so I don't know the limitations, but if there's anything you can do to protect our homes and our lives, I think that'd be great. This representative, I think it was Jim Dunnigan in 2011. Prior to that, it was illegal to shoot aerial fireworks. He said, we're losing tax revenue because everyone's going to Wyoming and buying them and bringing it back. Well, let's see the difference in cost of fighting fires from our firefighters, running here, running there, and the tax revenue. I'd like to see the difference, where we're winning, losing. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's not about
David,
money.
we need to limit the comments to 3 minutes, but,
Oh, I'm
but
sorry.
I appreciate your time and I think that's super valid comment. So we'll be in touch
Thank
with
you for listening. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Happy 4th.
Thank you. You too. Okay, we're now going to close the citizen comment period and move on to item number 4, which are our staff quarterly reports. The first report that we're going to hear tonight is from our police, and we have our support services manager and administrative assistant, Candy Terry, here to come and share that report with us. Hi, Candy.
Okay. So this is for the June 2024 stat report. Did I turn it on? Oh, wrong way. Sorry, it's been a long day. There we go. Okay. So for our calls for service for June, we had 1,530 calls, and our on-view calls, we had 398. For our calls for service for District 1, we had 561. District 2 was 240. District 3 is 342, and District 4 was 229. For our June response times, for officer travel time for priority 1, we are ranging around 3 minutes, not 300, I apologize. 3 minutes. Priority 2 is 5:43, and priority 3 is up a little bit this month with 8 minutes.
And would you explain again the priority, what those different are?
I'll let
Chief,
Chief take
Chief,
that
do you
one.
want to do that?
The easiest way to think about it is priority 1 involves the imminent life or risk to life and property. Priority 2 would be, some sort of, crime in progress, like a shoplifting or something in progress that does not involve, the imminent threat of life. Priority 3 would be more of a traffic accident without injuries or, an information report like someone got my golf clubs out of the garage last night. I guess the important thing there is we still respond, even though it may be 8 minutes. Most agencies will not respond to those kind of calls. And if you want to report, you can go online and generate a case number, and then it doesn't go anywhere and nobody ever investigates it. So there is a difference. Priority 1.
Thank you for that, Chief.
Here's our overall crime for the month of June. As you can see from June of 2023, we were down, which is always great. Here's our arrests. We did have a total of 67 adult arrests, and we did not have any juvenile citations issued for the month of June. Traffic citations, we had 322 penalty citations, 249 warning citations, and there were 8 DUIs. Here are the traffic citations by district. Accidents, they were down. June is usually a lower month for accidents. We only had 23 property and 9 injury. I'm sorry?
I was just wondering, I don't see an appendice in our packet, so if we want this information. Thank you.
For animal control, they did a total of 96 calls for service, and they issued a total of 7 citations. Sorry, animal control code enforcement. For our traffic unit, they issued, for the 4 of them together, they issued a total of 427 citations. They conducted 389 stops. They did 12 impounds, 5 DUIs, 29 accidents, 9 arrests, 38 other reports, and they assisted they assisted officers with 37 other reports. So our traffic unit is a very busy little unit.
Quick question.
Yes.
You had 8 DUIs for the month of June. Were those taken, those DUIs from officers different from traffic?
So
Control.
the traffic unit did 5 of those 8 DUIs.
Okay. Then the others came.
Other
Other
officers within
officers.
the department. Uh-huh. Welcome.
And I'm
Yes,
putting on,
could I also better understand, so a citation is separate from a traffic stop. So traffic stop implies that there was no kind of citation given?
No.
How, what's the difference between those two categories then?
So they can conduct a traffic stop without giving a citation, but they will give a citation and there could be multiple people within that vehicle given a citation.
Okay,
So they pull someone over and they're issued a citation during that traffic stop.
I see. Okay.
It might help clarify that when you think of a traffic unit and traffic stop, you are thinking, well, the driver ran a red light, and that may be true. But when they get the car stopped, very often we find alcohol or drugs or wanted people or something like that inside the car as well. So one car and one traffic stop can equate to several arrests or violations at the same time.
Thank you.
since we have 3 more officers this June than last June, any idea how this stacks up to last June? Putting you on the spot a little bit, but
Maybe Candy can answer that, but I will tell you in the first 6 months, so you have 4 total because we had 1 and you added 3. So the 4 total in the first 6 months wrote 2,400 tickets or something like that.
Yes, it has actually more than doubled
the financial side of this is, and if there are better partners that we may
But we'd
partner
love,
with.
we'd love to have that conversation along with Mr. Jurgis and review the court contract. As you may or may not know, we currently contract with the city of Holiday for court services, but they just took on Mill Creek as well. Prior to that, I can tell you that our prosecutor will tell you that we account for 70% of the business going to Holiday. Yet I'm not sure that that's reflected in the revenue. And perhaps Scott can tell you more about how that money comes back, but certainly something I think is worthy of discussion, especially now. And it's not just the traffic citations, it's the shoplifts, the DUIs. Everything that's a Class B misdemeanor or below goes to that court.
And just to be clear, obviously, I'm not talking about this from a revenue generating source for the city as if it's a windfall. But as we have a department that we're funding specifically for these efforts, I definitely don't want it to be a windfall for a neighboring municipality. And I definitely want that revenue of people that are coming here to be able to fund our department so that we're able to continue to provide these services.
We agree.
That would be interesting, especially with Mill Creek coming on. It's a shared cost that hopefully would possibly diminish our level of contribution if Mill Creek is also contributing to the overall process there.
Right. Well, and some of the money is supposed to come back, correct, Scott, to the city under the contract?
There's money that comes back, but there's also expenses that come back that are related to the court. And in a general sense, municipal courts don't make money. So we are usually sometimes on one side and sometimes on the other side of breaking even, basically. So we budget about $420,000 of expense, and we budget about $400,000 of revenue. And it's usually a little less than that, but
And I think, Chief, we just want to make sure as they're adding additional municipalities that we're being treated fairly.
Yeah.
And we're continuing to have those discussions to make sure that it's equitable. So.
Thank you.
And then our last slide is just a couple of fireworks safety tips, since we have the 4th this week. And that's all I have.
We asked lots of questions throughout, so I think we're
Okay.
good, but thank you, Candy. Any
Thank
other
you.
questions?
I would be interested, and I realize this is perhaps more of a UFA question, but I'm sure that the police department also enters into coming on the scene when there is some kind of little flash fire related to fireworks. Since we've had 2 people from our community express their concern, especially a man whose house burnt to the ground. Is this something that we need? I mean, I know that Riley Pilgrim already gave us a really comprehensive report, but this is a really important subject as we come into the month of July. Do you have any comments, any thoughts related to more that the city could do? Avoid disaster this summer?
Well, it's obviously very important. I was actually at that fire. And there were other factors involved in that one. There's some overgrowth and some other issues that contributed to that particular fire. It's all very, very unfortunate. We have taken steps since that time, and the current the map that you've adopted seems to be working, and it's in place. And since you've adopted that, we have not had. Have we had one instance? I don't recall one. Yeah, so we have taken it, we take it seriously, and we've mitigated it. I think there's never going to be 100%. And there's always going to be someone who just does something foolish, but that can happen anytime, no matter what rules you put in place. And then I'll just yield to Riley.
We're also happy to adjust the map based on, getting good criteria, right, Riley?
Yeah, and we can do that. And that was, as you mentioned, a lot of the things that we do were restricted by state statute. And so the council can, at their own risk, decide to have a more strict map that's outside of statute. It just potentially comes with consequences. lawsuits and whatnot. And so, I mean, we can do that. And this year we recommend some different additional restrictions. Just as we keep cleaning up the map, we'll always try to find anything that we miss. But to Chief's point, we haven't had problems like that, fortunately, since that incident. And we're as prepared as we can be. The state of Utah is the one who just did the statewide restriction. It's a stage 1 restriction, which just restricts open fires, smoking. Fireworks are already banned in all these places anyways. But it's just a precautionary measure as we move into July. They do this almost every year. As conditions dry out, that they do restrictions, and it does apply to Salt Lake County, Utah County, Davis, Weaver, and unincorporated areas within those counties, but not municipalities. And so municipalities can choose to take that on themselves as well. But again, it's an interesting thing where legislation really does tie our hands on what we can and can't do with fireworks. And so we follow the law and we do the best we can. One thing I was going to mention to his point, actually, the benefit of the wildland interface areas, we actually can restrict additionally. So the fact that that park next to his property, that open space is considered an interface, actually gives us the ability to do more restrictions, which we've done. So it doesn't take away from our ability, actually enhances our ability to continue to apply restrictions. So we've done that in all those cases, and I think we're in good shape. And like Chief said, we can't stop people from just doing dumb stuff. And that's usually what causes most of our problems. So
And the cemetery that is adjacent to his home have been great partners. There's some undeveloped area there, but they have reduced the fuel and they continue to do that and be great neighbors, and they've mitigated the risk that was there that contributed to the fire that no longer exists. And they were involved in discussions, and they've been great. And I think that was probably a better solution than some of the others.
Super interesting. Thank you. Appreciate that. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you, Candy. So the next staff report is going to be from our Public Works Director, Matt Ship. Come on up, Matt.
All right, so Public Works, what are we doing? What have we done? So let's talk a little bit about it. If you've driven around town, you'll probably notice there's a lot happening. A lot of things going on. We're trying to get some projects completed. So really what I'd like to do tonight is just kind of share those projects a little bit and kind of explain what's happening and where we are and so you can have a little bit of knowledge and information if you're asked by some of your constituents. So one of the things we're doing around town is we're doing what they call a Cape Seal, and you've seen that on Highland, Bengal Boulevard, and 1300. Soon, Fort Union next month. We'll be doing Fort Union. And just to give you an idea of what a Cape Seal is, apparently it's named after Cape Town, South Africa, because that's the first place it started. Little trivia, mark it up. So if you're playing a game, you'll know. There you go. Okay. Cape Seal process, we do fill cracks to stop the water intrusion. You'll see crack sealing going on around the city. We spray the pavement with a binder, such as an asphalt and applied an asphalt binder. And then you add chips to that. So that's the chip seal process. Now that's something we've done around town before. We had some issues. Well, some of our residents felt they weren't smooth enough roads after you do a chip seal. The process itself is a great process to manage and maintain your road surface. But we've moved on to the Cape Seals. And the Cape Seal, on top of the chip, we put a slurry seal, which is a thin layer of sand and asphalt to kind of give that thing a little bit of more binding and also a little smoother road surface. And Bengal Boulevard, that's the Cape Seal that's out there, and it continues to smooth out as cars travel on that a little bit quicker than the other. To date, we've put down about 1.1 million square feet of chip seal and about 720,000 of slurry on top of that. Fort Union, obviously, like I mentioned before, from Union Park to 3,000, the 30th East is our next project we'll tackle with this type of process. And we'll start sometime at the end of July, first part of August. And also, well, I'll get into that in a minute. But so just to give you an idea, just for fun, I brought some pictures. You'll see that the Cape Seal, like I said in the process, you start with the crack sealing. These are the crack seals that go on up and down the roads. There is the oil distribution. This is the oil process that goes down. They spread a layer of oil. And then finally, you follow it up with this machine that spreads the chips or the rock. Hence, you get the name chip seal. It's an aggregate mix. And this is what we would deem a final product of a chip seal. Normally, you'd come along and because people don't like their roads to be white, it doesn't make sense when you're driving on them. You put a fog seal on top of it. But we've foregone that and we come through and do the slurry seal. So this is the product you're seeing right now. So that's going on around the city. It's quite a process. And we've been trying to do most of the work at night to avoid traffic disruptions and make that a little easier on everybody. And I think it's going well. The chip seal process can happen during the day because you can start driving on that within 5 minutes after it's down. It's not a big deal. The problem with the slurry, it takes about 3 hours to cure before you can get on it. So we've held out until the evenings to do that work, except, so you're going to hear this, tomorrow we have to do it during the day on over on Fort Union. So hang on, but it should be okay because there are no accesses off of the area we're working on. So,
Matt, so you mentioned the Fort Union project's going to start at the end of July.
mhm.
Are we going to make sure that the hawk light is completed before that?
The hawk light won't be completed by that time. We're going to bypass that area and we're going to have to fix it when we're done. So we'll work around the signal itself. Similar to how we worked around cars that are parked on the side of the road, we kind of have to come back and sweep back in and pick up what wasn't completed. So, yeah.
If I may give some feedback, I want to really thank you for the way that your crew has swept up the gravel, the chips, I should say, that go into the side of the road as the cars travel. We've had challenges in the past years, and we've gotten a lot of input from the community, how the danger and concern, and I really want to commend you for going to the Cape Seal and taking the time to explain it to us. And also, as I, again, ride my e-bike, there was only one day in the last 2 weeks that there was a pile about this deep of chips. And I was about to call you, and by the next day, they had been swept off. And so thank you for looking out for the safety of our cyclists and pedestrians. It's so much better. And as you get a little even farther east on Bengal Boulevard toward the elementary school there, it could use a little bit more, but I'm sure that this is an ongoing process. And again, it's so much better this year than in past years. So thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. One of the things that each project you learn something. Next year you try to pick it up. And one of the things we added to the contract, they have to sweep at least 4 times. We have our sweeper on the side roads picking up these things, and we'll continue to sweep this road, all of these roads as we go along, because in this slurry mix on top, it's a sand. So now it's going to not just the chips, we're going to have sand that's going to be pushed around, but we'll continue to sweep. But I appreciate that. And then, thank you.
How often do you have to do this on a road, Matt?
This should give us about 8 to 10 years at this point on Bengal Boulevard. Same with Highland. Highland was chip sealed about 8 years ago, and we're back for the next round. And it's a process you need to continue. If we let it go, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, the cost of this process is 70 cents a square foot versus the $10 a square foot to rebuild it. So if we let it go. So that's why about every 8 to 10 years, we go through this process, especially on our main roads. Fort Union, we've done estimates of rebuilding it of close to $25+ million if we let it go. So it's a process we keep going on.
Can you recite that one more time? How does the 70 cents per square foot compare with reconstruction? Is it?
70 cents is about 70 cents for something of this nature,
Yeah.
70 cents to $1 inflation, don't quote me directly,
Uh-huh.
up to about $10 for reconstruction.
And we know that with Prospector being close to $1 million to
100%.
reconstruct
Yep.
it. So thank you. That helps a lot to illustrate that with concerned constituents.
Okay, we've had stormwater projects going on. One of the biggest ones we have right now is the one on Creek Road. If you've been over in that area next to Peppers Hill, that project was brought about because of the issues we're having down at the bottom with a couple of homes. And we came through and we're trying to fix that problem so we don't run into it anymore. We're putting in about 8 new inlets on that road, which are double hooded inlets to meet our standard. I know that may not mean a lot, but I'll show you some pictures. Approximately 400+ feet of new 42-inch pipe that needs to go, that went in. That takes care of when we pulled the old pipe out, it had holes in it everywhere and it was crumbling, it was rusting. These are things we're finding in our storm system. So as we continue, I'm going to keep pounding the drum on, we need that funding to make sure that gets fixed. And like I said, right now, all of the projects we're working on we're in emergency mode versus the other. And we're trying to stop the emergencies and get to the regular work. We anticipate this one being completed by the end of July. Just for fun, here's some of the pictures that are happening up there. This is the pipe going in. You can see one of the reasons we had to close Creek Road for so long. There was a very big hole there and we weren't going to be able to get through. This is the pipes going in. This is the double hooded inlets. The thing about these, it allows it less blockage. If things start blocking up, you have extra. It's a bit of overkill, but it's not if you're at the bottom of the hill. So, and like I said, just some things. This is a stormwater sump that we put in at the request of residents at the bottom of Plum Creek over off Siesta. This takes care of the water coming from our property and keeping it off of their property. So that was a little project that went in. And this little project was up on Kings Hill Place up in district that way. Thank you. Curb and gutter was gone and we had some flooding issues on a home. So we repaired the curb and gutter through a stormwater project. Prospector Drive, this is a big one that's happening as well. We are putting down, rough to date, we've put down about 570 tons of asphalt. Curb and gutter replacement, about 5,500 lineal feet and about 2,700 square feet of sidewalk. The areas do include Prospector, Mine Shaft, Comstock, Lost Canyon, Silver King, and Claim Jumper. Just to give you an idea, this is what Prospector looked like before we start. Well, this has started, but this is what the road throughout the whole neighborhood looked like. This is a neighborhood that did not get maintained. When we pulled the asphalt off of this, just FYI, one of the concerns when you do road reconstruction, and you pull the asphalt off, you don't always know what's going to happen when you do that underneath. But when we pulled that off, the road base, we didn't have to bring in any new road base, which was pretty amazing. So the road base underneath was in great shape. This would have taken if it had been maintained from the beginning, we'd be saving a little dollars right now. Let's just put it that way. So this is what it looked like. And these are some pictures of, the construction. I do want to say publicly, I don't know if people listen, but the residents of Prospector area have been spectacular in their patience and what's happening. They've been blocked out of their driveways. They've had to walk, couple of 100 feet to get to their house carrying groceries, but they have been very, very good with us. The honeymoon period is lasting a lot longer than I thought it would.
Okay, Matt Holton right now would say, yep, that's my district.
So it's been wonderful to work with them and the contractor up there. So here's some things. We have replaced the waterways, some of those big heavy dips that were causing a lot of problems. We replaced those along with curb and gutter. This is the matting, the asphalt mat going down. And this is one of the final products on the, one of the cul-de-sacs. So this is things that are happening up there. This project expected to be completed by the end of this month. And from there, we'll explain where we're going from there. So hopefully we'll be out of everybody's hair up there pretty soon. I know they'll love to see us go, but they have been wonderful and they have been patient. So this is a crosswalk. We've put in a few concrete projects. This is the one on 3500 East over by Smith's. This project was a request of a lot of residents who live on the east side of 3500, who are trying to get across. They bring children and they try to get, there's daycares apparently over there. Plus they like to walk to their groceries. There are no crosswalks unless you walk all the way up to Bengal Boulevard and then cross, and then you have to walk back down to those shops that are on that side. So this crosswalk was installed just recently. There will be RRFBs, rapid reflecting beacons, will be installed this week or next week, along with the striping and the signing and the orange flags to really highlight that crosswalk for residential use.
What is the southerly coordinate there on 3500 East?
Well,
What are we looking at? I mean,
I don't remember the street. This is, I should have looked it up, but I don't remember the street. Which,
so this is south of the
this is
Bengal.
south of Bengal
35.
Boulevard, correct?
Huh. Well, I'm gonna go over there on my way home and look at it.
Yep.
Okay,
It's
great.
not completed, but I do want to brag that we got that started. So that's moving forward.
You know, when
Trying to pick up a lot. I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, it just would be nice to, do you have other things scheduled? Because I know this was something we were hoping to get. I didn't realize that it had gotten the green light to move this ahead, this mid-block crossing.
Yes, we have been moving forward with a couple of things. So
Will there also be a mid-block crossing on the Bengal Boulevard for those trying to get to Smith's from the, northwest of Smith's
we
grocery
haven't
store?
looked at that yet, but we will certainly start looking at these things. We're picking these up as they come along and trying to put them in. They are costly. So when, we have some money in the budget towards the end of the year that we are able to expend on concrete projects, we'll do these types of crossings.
Yeah, thank you.
The crowning achievement for Public Works, obviously, is the Public Works building. We held the open house. Many of you came and saw it. Just wanted to give you an idea of what it's like in there. Once I would like from my staff to you to say thank you for allowing this to move forward. It has been a godsend to us, our equipment, able to work inside and not outside. It's been a great thing, and have all the staff, Public Works staff, in one location makes it easier as a department and taking care of things. So this is the shop. This is, I'm just going to bounce through some pictures. The staff break room that's in there, the locker rooms. These are the cubicles where we house a few of our employees, the conference room, and well, that was it. So that's our Public Works building. Things coming up, just to give you a heads up. We have Town Center Drive area reconstruction starts in August. As soon as we move off of Prospector, we're moving over to the Town Center Drive area. And I think that's
District 2, right?
District 2, right? Okay, so we'll be moving there. We put out flyers. We're going to put out more flyers. The same thing that's happening at Prospector will be happening in the Town Center Drive area. So we'll be reconstructing that location. We also have been directed by council, and as soon as we are done on, Creek Road storm drain, that contractor has the contract to do Quarry Hill Circle. That's the one with the very steep slope that you've heard so much about from folks. They'll be moving there, and that will be in August, and they'll start on that, and we'll get that completed. We have a raised crosswalk at Bywater Park. The same location you heard about tonight from this gentleman. This is a crosswalk that we've designed. We'll be bringing it to you for your approval in the next couple of weeks. This is one of our test crosswalks, if you will, for how we want to see things and how they'll look. This will be right at the park. So folks on the south side of the park are able to walk down and cross directly into the park without having to go through there.
I would really like to know what easterly coordinate you're focusing on for that.
What do you mean easterly coordinate?
Well,
Sorry.
I know I've been an advocate for helping all those neighborhoods on the south side of Banbury to be able to cross on the east side of Bywater Park. There's a lot of children that need to get across. So there's a dip in the road, you know, off to the east of the park where the road takes some real twists and turns. And it acts to kind of slow traffic down. But so I'm very interested to know where you have identified to put the mid-block crossing.
I'm gonna stop sharing really quick, and
I'm really excited to announce this to my constituents because this is something they'll be so thrilled to hear, that there'll be a crosswalk. I thought maybe you were talking about at the stop sign where
No.
Brighton Way meets with Banbury, but you're talking about east of the park. This is great news.
let me share. No, I can't find Zoom. Oh, there it is. Nope. Matt, I'm lost, buddy. Is this my share thing? Okay, share. There we go. All right. Thank you. Okay, Bywater Park is right here at this location. What we're doing from this locate, is my mouse working on the screen? Okay. From this location to this location, there's no sidewalk. So part of this project will be to finish the installation of this sidewalk. And the crosswalk, there's a high point in here for stormwater, so makes it easier on us when we do the stormwater portion of this, to put the raised crosswalk that will go into the park from here. So we are servicing, if you will, these neighborhoods right in here where they're able to come and cross at this point.
So it actually is not to the east of the park. It's on the west side of the park.
So
Well, the southwest part of the park. What we were trying to do is service the neighborhoods there on the south side, the southeast side of the park. There's a lot of children, and they're trying to come in at that southeast edge of the park. I was hoping that we would have a crosswalk where they could get across. They'll probably continue to jaywalk because that's over at the west edge of the park.
yeah, this crosswalk going in right now is servicing, if you will, this part of.
Well, there's always been a crosswalk where Brighton Way meets Banbury. We've always had a crosswalk there. So in essence, this is just slightly
Moving
farther
it
to the
down,
east.
but this is going to be a raised crosswalk. Like I said, it is in effect a test, if you will, to see how we are, part of our making this, the walkable, safer routes and slowing the cars down. So we're putting this one in to give this a test run. Okay? And then but you'll be seeing that coming back to you here soon. Then we're finishing the byway routes as proposed by the PTOS committee on Banbury. That is ongoing. The signs are finally made, I believe. And as soon as we have those, we'll start installing those. You can kind of see in the background picture here. This is the striping, the share of the road that we've adopted for our byways to really highlight the bicycle route and share the road. Really comes out and pops. We are finishing the Hawk signal at Bella Vista Elementary School. I spoke to the mayor last week. We have run into some real issues underground that we are trying to work through, so it's taking a little longer. So Fort Union has become a little crowded, if you will, at this point, but we're moving forward. We know we've got things figured out, and things are now moving ahead again. This Hawk signal will be done before school starts. So when school starts, we'll have it up and running and ready to go. And part of that, it will still be a school crossing. There'll be a school zone through there. You'll hit the button, you'll go through the whole process, but that'll be it. We have started the 1700 East sidewalk construction. That is beginning. It just started, I believe, this week, your neck of the woods. So that has begun. So that's going to be a little bit of a mess for a while. Happy to answer questions if you have people that are asking. And then we finally.
Do you have a timeline on that, Matt? Just if they ask.
I have to be done by October, for funding. So I'm pushing really, really hard to get done by October.
Halloween. All right.
Just in time to go around and get the candy. And then finally, we've talked about Supernal Circle Storm Drain Line. This bid opens next week, and I'll be bringing it to you as soon as I can. This is the storm drain line, once again, an emergency project where we are taking out someone's backyard without meaning to. A deteriorated pipe again, and so we're replacing that and updating it and meeting the standards. So those are the things that are happening this summer. It's busy around town, I know, but I think we're getting things done and finishing and following the 5-year transportation maintenance plan. So any questions?
I would add we had a resident reach out and ask that if we would be willing to do some type of celebration or ribbon cutting, something at when the hawk signal becomes operational. And so I thought, you know what, we'll probably have something. Yeah.
Okay. I'll leave that to somebody
And I want to thank
who
you.
likes parties.
Well, we all like parties. I want to thank you for keeping that active projects web page updated, because when I get constituents calling, I just point them right there and their questions are
Thank
answered.
you.
So please keep
Good.
that up.
Could you say that again? Because I would like to go back to my staff and just hit them with it.
Well, I don't know if you have the opportunity for
I-
social media, but I mean, just kind of highlighting what we do, actually think keeps
No.
everybody's expectations.
I
in
appreciate
line.
that. It's nice to know that people are looking at it, honestly. We've tried, we're trying to do better. Public Works we're not always the best at communicating things. We know what we have to do. We just put our heads down and do it. But we're trying to improve our communication to the public and putting the information out there. If they want it, this is where it is, and we're trying to make that available. So thank you. I truly appreciate that.
Is your team working with Beatrice to,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. We are. We're doing that.
I want to thank you too, and I want you to send a message to the contractor that's working on the Hawk Light. They've done a very good job of traffic mitigation there, knowing that when traffic is high, they're moving the barriers and barricades and everything else. Their hours are conducive to working around the high traffic times, and it's really made a difference there.
Great.
Even though they're losing a lot of those barricades during the day, but they've done a really good job of mitigating those long traffic lines and the traffic being stopped up there, and it's worked out really well.
Good. Thank you. I'll pass that along. And as I like to say to the general public, we appreciate your patience. And we're trying to get out of your hair and get the job done we're asked to do. So thank you.
Thanks,
Any-
Matt.
Anything else? Good.
Nope, that's it. Appreciate you. Okay, we are going to move on to the council has 4 legislative items to consider this evening. And we'll begin with item 5.1, consideration of resolution 2024-46, approving entry into an agreement with Schmidt Graphics and signs for installation of public art. We had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier in our work session. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-46, approving entry into an agreement with Schmidt Graphics and signs for installation of public art.
I'll make that motion to approve resolution 2024-46.
I'll second.
We have a motion to approve from Councilmember Newell and a second from Councilmember Highland. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
I will vote. Item 5.2, consideration of resolution 2024-47, approving entry into a lease purchase agreement with Zions Band Corporation, NA, for the lease of police and public works vehicles and associated equipment, and authorizing the execution and delivery of all related documents and the taking of all required actions. Questions or comments from the council? We had the opportunity to discuss this earlier. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-47, ...
I move that we approve resolution 2024-47.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Holton and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions, comments? I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
You bet.
and I will, or you bet. Item 5.3, consideration of resolution 2024-48, approving entry into a vehicle repurchase option agreement with Garf Enterprises, Inc. for police and public works vehicles and associated equipment. We also had the opportunity to discuss this item earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-48, approving entry into a vehicle repurchase option agreement with Garf Enterprises, Inc. for police and public works vehicles and associated equipment.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-48.
I'll second.
A motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Newell. Final questions, comments? And then I'll call for the vote. Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
Councilmember Burrell.
Yes.
Councilmember Holton.
Yay.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
and I'll vote yay. Our last item is 5.4, consideration of resolution 2024-49, accepting requests for indemnification. We also discussed this earlier. Any other questions or comments from the council? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 2024-49, accepting requests for indemnification.
I'll motion to approve resolution 2024-49.
I'll second.
Motion to approve from Councilmember Highland and a second from Councilmember Holton. Final questions, comments? Call for the vote. Councilmember Burrell,
Yes.
Councilmember Holton,
Yes.
Councilmember Highland,
Yes.
Councilmember Newell,
Yes.
and I will vote yes. Okay, our last item of business for this evening is approval of our consent calendar, which are the minutes of our city council work session and city council business meeting for June 18th, 2024. Could I get a motion to approve?
I'll motion to approve item 6.1, the approval of the minutes. Oh, excuse me, 6.0, approval of the consent calendar.
I'll second.
Motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Could I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.